Winning the Delano Pole Award here at the shortest track on the TM Master Cup Series calendar is Alessandro Rossini in the number 3 Aperture Science Volpe. Scott Stoidler, driving for the American Launch Energy Racing Team, is on the outside of the front row, continuing a good string of results for Stoidler. All Manacor Engineering row 2, that's a huge surprise, and Chris Johans ahead of Leonid Roderick in row 3. Tony Durbin won the ASCC race earlier in the year from the pole. Kurt Pliskin alongside there. You see Greg Woodard in row 6 with Luciano Savarol. Davenport, one of his better starts of the year. Tom Moore bolted a great lap out in qualifying to start 15th. Cameron Taylor in 19th. There you see as well Joe Olenek and Arto Kekkonen rounding up the top 20. The Star USA car is looking very strong here this week. This is Tenera's home race, and it's good to see two of the Teneras in the field to represent themselves well with efforts on row 12. Card was looking for a bit more, I think. Juho Kavela, car 38, that's the third Manacor Engineering car, making his first oval start in his whole career. Clavino looking for a lot more than what she got in qualifying, as was Carlos Urqueta. Tutino in row 18, no surprise there. Brandon LaRoe looking for better than that. The Melrose Racing Team cars and the Maximus cars having a disastrous weekend so far. Dalton Johnson making his first ever start in the series, after previously being the man that held the most DNQs without ever starting a TM Master Cup Series points race. Here is Alessandro Rossini leading the field to the green. Car number 3 gets a pretty good start. Scott Stoidler lets him by. Doesn't put up too much of a fight there, but he's going to try to get back into second before Lewis Kingston can get there. And it looks like one thing we may have predicted before the race was that the dreadfully slow Manacors we're going to jam up the rest of the field. Looks like that might be proving true already. Packer Carroll has disappeared. Kingston in the 17 is holding quite a few faster cars up. There's Chris Johans in the 12 right behind him. Johans, veteran of the short track wars. And here's Tony Durbin making his way to the front in that black and orange 56 car. Durbin on the charge. And also look at the 11 car. That's Davina Henton, the Lynx Racing Machine. Henton having a good run so far. Kingston shuffled to the outside. He's going backwards. Johans up to second. Tony Durbin from Texas having a run at Johans. Greg Woodard going 4 wide almost with his teammate Kurt Pliskin and the Stoidler and Kingston. And I think we can tell who has qualifying setups on their cars. Look at the 4. Roderick now sticking his nose in. And Roderick just blasting by Greg Woodard and Scott Stoidler like they weren't even there. Roderick in the 4. Look at him go! He's going by Kurt Pliskin. And we've got one car that's already hit the pit lane. That's the number 22 car. The Peter Leonard car driven by Peter Short. So, bit of a disastrous start of the day for the Melrose Racing Team that stole this race last year. And Peter Short, the 4-time world champion, I think is looking for a lot more than what Vernstrom is giving him. Here is Davina Henton in the 11, who got off to such a great start. In the 16 is challenging. It's amazing that we're able to keep track of which car Kurt Pliskin's in because he's changed his paint job so many times. As in the background you may see Luciano Savarol getting by Greg Woodard. As we're now looking back with Arto Kekkonen in the midfield, as Clavino has really begun to march her way towards the front, and the EFR cars are going backwards. Clavino going right by Jacob Card, and Card and Clavino were 1-2 in final practice. So, whoa! Melanie into the side of Kekkonen a little bit, muscling him out of the way, as the leaders are now beginning to lap Dalton Johnson in the 97 car. It's the 2 Volpes, first and second. Dalton Johnson, as I mentioned earlier, previously held the record for most number of DNQs without ever starting a TM Master Cup Series points race. He's been trying to qualify for races for the better part of 8 years, and it's first ever starting a points race, and it's going predictably bad, but especially given the equipment I think he has at his disposal, but he's being a pretty courteous backmarker, actually, so points for that, if nothing else. Respect points, that is, as he's letting the leaders go by and not really putting up too much of a fight. I think Dalton Johnson just looking for laps. One of the many Tenera cars in the field, and his like Hoya Busters ride as never mind. He pulls right in front of Chris Johans. I don't think he knew Johans was there, but now that he does, he moves out of the way. Greg Woodard in the 41, one of the factory like Hoyas goes by. Here is Zach Webster in this race with the promoter's option, running 13th. As Kekkonen might be looking to make this 4 wide. This might not work, boys. As we're going into turn, oh, don't slide up in Ian Cooper. He might put you in the wall, but granted, Ian Cooper's been center punched 2 different times in practice so far by different cars. As the 32 of Zach Webster, very strong on the ovals, as Jacob Card slides in, and now they're 4 wider on the lap car. Johnson very high up against the wall in that. I think that's a Tenaire R&D car. I hope it is. Either way, don't know why he's that far off the pace. We're 15 laps in. He's already a lap and a half down. As Zach Webster losing a bit of ground to Scott Bates and Ian Cooper, as the EFR cars look like they're finally settling in and beginning to move forward. And back up with the leaders as Alessandro Rossini and Leonid Roderick, the 2 Volpes, are running away with it. They put Peter Short another lap down to the 22 as Roderick slides under his teammate. We may have a lead change here. Roderick going to the inside in turn 3, and he's going to clear Rossini coming off 4. Roderick to P1, and that number 4 car looks like it is on rails as Luciano Savarol begins to challenge Kurt Pliskin for 3rd position. Tony Durbin sits back in 5th. And Carlos Urqueta in car number 14 in one of the 2 Katsivs is beginning to march his way forward as they are 3 wide in front of him. Urqueta moving to the inside of Webster in the 32 car. D'Souza trying to thread the needle as Tom Moore in the 19 car is going backwards, and there's definitely a major handling problem with this car. Tom Moore is too good of a short track driver to be losing this much ground as Kuznetsov is going by him in the 15 car. That's Kazuyama in the 92 car. Kazuyama might not be driving this car actually for the Road America round coming up as Webster. Oh, this could be this could be 4 wide almost. Urqueta thought about it. 3 wide with Gasper D'Souza in the 60 and Ian Cooper in the triple. Oh, no! He pushes up the track into D'Souza and both of them hit the wall. Zach Webster, I don't think he really wanted to do that, but Webster, that was a bit of a mistake there, a bit of exuberance maybe. But Griffith in the 07 coming through as Roderick now closing in on the lapped car, some of the cars at the back of the field. Matthias Taub in the 21 nearly won this race last year. Archer Harris in the orange 79. And that's one of the 2 Tinos, the 42 Benoit Vukler. Oh, Roderick might go 4 wider on the back markers. Roderick goes right on by. He's going to make it work. No patience there. Roderick 4 wide through the back markers. Tom Moore now trying to stay in the lead lap. No! He takes himself almost takes himself and puts Packer Carroll in the wall. Carroll not happy about that. I think I may have seen a fist shaking at Tom Moore. I'd look out if I'm Tom Moore. Packer Carroll's a pretty big guy, and he's been the type of driver in the past to put some of his rivals into the fence on various occasions. I would be definitely watching my mirrors. Here is Kurt Pliskin running in 2nd place, trying to get around the 19 of Tom Moore. Moore a bit exuberant to try to stay on the lead lap was Tom Moore, I think. He had every right to fight that. Rossini now about to lose 3rd to Luciano Savarol. Savarol slides it into 1. Rossini gives him plenty of space. And looks like Savarol is going to take 3rd from the Italian, who I think is looking for the first round of pit stops, which probably will be in about 30 or 40 laps. Expect them around lap 60 or 70. Clavino has come all the way from the back of the field up to 5th with their teammate Adrian Devereaux in tow. In the past, Melanie Clavino has not been very strong in traffic as Archer Harris passes Packer Carroll for position. But Clavino has actually improved her abilities in traffic quite substantially over the past couple of races. Not only at Quincy, but earlier at Quebec as well. As here is Kevin Dwyer running in 14th position. Peter Short gets into him, and Short takes Dwyer into the wall. I don't think Dwyer appreciated that move from the 4-time world champion as the number 10 of Yulia Sova goes by. As Dwyer now tries to feed back onto the inside and challenge the 10. Juho Kavela, car number 38. This is his first ever oval start. The first time he's ever raced outside his native Finland, believe it or not. Kavela is actually the leading Manticore Engineering car in this race. He's 23rd, last car in the lead lap. He's about to be lapped by Roderick. He's never run in an oval before, and he was actually teammates with Leonid Roderick a few years ago at the Cariola Grand Prix when Kvyat, I think, nearly put the car on the podium. So, needless to say, Kvyat is very, very comfortable with high-pressure environments, and he's adapting to this whole oval racing thing quite well, thank you very much, as Roderick puts a lap on him, leading his teammate Lewis Kingston there. 21 cars in the lead lap. Jacob Card is running in 19th. He's not been able to progress to the field at all. You see in the background Webster about to go a lap down. Ian Cooper's 20th. And Card really bit of a disappointment so far. I think a lot of people were expecting Card to have at least had a bit more results than he has. Of course, that situation he had after Cariola not exactly helping his case much. As you're now looking at an odd situation here. A battle for 41st position. These are the cars last and second last. As Peter Short takes 41st away from Dalton Johnson, who is now running in last. And Peter Short is pitted. Dalton Johnson has not. Roderick leads. Roderick leads still. His lead is extending. He's not exactly chewing up his tires nearly as much as everyone else. He's going by Ian Cooper, who's running in 20th. Nasova running in 19th. Nasova not giving him any quarter, though, until the last second. But I think that Roderick has figured out how to manage the right side tire a little better than everyone else, it seems like. Rossini in the 3 car, struggling maybe a little bit for grip a little bit, but it looks like everybody is after this point in the race, as Dalton Johnson pits the 97 car, and Devereaux closes. Oh, wait, Rossini's not picking up. Something's wrong. Something has gone horribly wrong with Alessandro Rossini, and this is a big disappointment. The Italian has been a title protagonist all year. He got the pole, was looking to have a good points day today if he kept everything under him, but now it looks like it's all gone to pot, and Rossini, the Volpe Racing team, a crew with down there at that end of the pit lane, does not look like they're in any hurry. It looks like even they know that this could be very terminal, and that Rossini's day is done. Huge disappointment for the Italian. He's still a title favorite, however. I wouldn't rule him out for the rest of the year. Carlos Urqueta is running in 16th. Last car in the lead lap. Card has been able to pick off a couple other cars. I think a couple other cars have just faded more than Card has, because D'Souza's still in front of him. Stoidler in the 13, well out of the groove. As Urqueta now, whoa, Roderick nearly puts the bumper to the Colombian, who is doing everything he can to stay on the lead lap. Urqueta perfectly entitled to do that, but I wouldn't exactly imagine Roderick is terribly happy with him right about now. And there was a certain incident early in 2000 when Roderick had a bit of a dust-up with Benny Dwyer over who was allowed to be lapped and who wasn't, as Arto Kakkonen's in trouble, and that looks like that might be a puncture. And Arto Kakkonen has had probably more mechanical problems on his car than anyone else in the field. And when I mean mechanical problems, I also mean problems that aren't his fault. Melanie Clavino pits the 2 car. Clavino pits on lap number 55. So Clavino is in from 4th. So, and this looks scheduled, I might point out, as my tone of voice might have indicated. That was a scheduled pit stop. They were ready for Clavino for some time. Scott Bates is the last car in the lead lap in 11th position. Roderick closing in on the popular Oklahoma driver, as Bates looking to get another win this year. I think, but at the pace Roderick is going, that might not happen. But either way, Scott Bates won earlier in the year at the Nürburgring. As Davina Henton pits the Lynx car. Not too many other cars have made pit stops. Usually cars have been running towards the back. But Clavino is, as big check up there, as Packer Carroll pitted the Ultor car. Looked like Packer Carroll was one of the 2 Ultor cars. It was either Packer Carroll or Juho Kvyat. As Melanie Clavino is by far, you see here, the fastest car on the racetrack. Fresh tires clearly mean quite a bit to Clavino, and you can see here that Clavino's strategy was dictated by tire wear and not fuel consumption. And Packer, yes, that was indeed Packer Carroll in his Altor car. There are his teammate Juho Kavela's car looks almost identical to it as Adrian Devereaux pits the 7 car on lap 68. Roderick still leads out front, and he has not brought this car into the pits quite yet, as he's going by Chris Johans. Kevin Dwyer is next. Clavino in the background is really closing down on him. Kurt Pliskin having a bit of a quieter run so far. Not as many cars around him as Webster pits. Some people have caught on to what Clavino's doing. As you see the running order on the left, that's a bit muddled, however. There's some people that are on different pit strategies than others. Matthias Taub in the 21 car having a bit of a disastrous day so far, you see right there. But Pliskin in the 16 car is definitely in a position to win this race if something goes wrong with Roderick. And not only that, it's a good idea for Pliskin maybe to stay out in case we get a caution. And there's not many cars left in the lead lap. Pliskin, I think, is intending to be one of them. Looks like Woodard is pitted the 41 car, it looks like. So Greg Woodard also is pitted. As looks like Pliskin, PSI might be trying to split their strategy. Pit Woodard early and pit Pliskin very late. Tony Durbin, 56 car. Whoa! I think Tony Durbin might have intended to pit there. Changed his mind awful fast. Devereaux emerged from the pit lane. He's running in 6th, and that's the leader, Leonid Roderick. And there you see Melanie Clavino, who has run down Leonid Roderick with those fresh tires. Clavino's a few laps down, and Melanie, I think, is going to unlap herself quite easily here. Because look how much quicker she's going. I think she's making a move. Yes, she is. Melanie Clavino unlapping herself. Roderick giving her plenty of room as we have another look at it here. Yeah, Roderick knew she was quicker, a lot faster on those fresh tires, almost 0.8 of a second faster, and Roderick just lets her go right on by, and Roderick continues as Dalton Johnson into the wall again in the 97 car. He's been on the wall once already, and looks like he's reintroduced himself to the outside wall in that contraption that he's driving. As whoa! Swerving in front of Roderick. I think Johnson bit panicky now that he's hit the wall a few times, trying not to make as many mistakes as possible, and by doing so, he's only compounding the ones that he's already made. As Dan Lecklider in the 47 right behind him, that's not for position. The only car that's behind Dalton Johnson in the running order is a car that's out of the race, as Davenport pits the 84 on lap 74. Here is Ashby running in 4th position, stretching the fuel as long as possible. We've seen Zelda Ashby do this before on the road courses to great effect. Roderick isn't that far behind Ashby, but I would expect Roderick to pit that car before too much longer, as Juho Kavela has pitted the 38 car. First green flag pit stop went without a hitch. Maybe came into pit lane a little too slowly and was a bit careful in finding his pit stall, but for a guy who's making his first ever start in an oval, he's doing a great job so far. Here is Luciano Savaral, who has just completed his pit stop. He's running in 4th. Davina Henton, pass of the year right there, baby, as the field is checking up for, I think, Jacob Card hitting the pits. As Davina Henton's on fresh tires. He puts the bumper to Raqueta. There's Ian Cooper in the 777 car. Card peels off, field slows down. Henton takes her normal line, closes right in on the 13 of Stoidler, goes right by Stoidler, side by side with him, clears him on exit. As here is Yelena Silva, Henton's teammate, in car number 10. And there's Pliskin, the 2nd place car. Oh no! Pliskin's been hit by Joe Olenek! Pliskin, the 2nd place car, was hit by Joe Olenek, and that's a lot of damage to the front of the 10 car for Yelena Silva. I guarantee that's going to put Nasova out. Now, I don't know what Olenek was thinking there, and we're going to have a look at that here. Pliskin's running in 2nd. Pliskin's well ahead of Olenek, and Olenek just throttles it up and runs right into Pliskin and takes him out, pretty much. Just puts him into the wall. There's no reason for that at all, unless there's some bumper tag between those two that we didn't see. But Roderick into the pits in car number 4, seeing that happen. This is lap 83. That's almost 30 laps after Melanie Clavino pitted. Roderick clearly basing his pit strategy on fuel rather than tire wear. Kevin Dwyer is in for the first time. Tony Durbin, Gasper D'Souza also in. All of them looking like they are prepared for carnage. Kazuyama and Benoit Vukler have done likewise, so some of the back markers are even throwing the dice on pit strategy, as Kuznetsov has been in the wall in the 15, as you may have seen right there. Heavy damage to the 15 car. He slapped the wall coming off of 4. And Kuznetsov looks like he did some suspension damage to that car. Oh no! We got more problems here. Ashby's in trouble. Oh, Brandon LaRoe piles into a wreck needlessly. And Cameron Taylor, and that is the first caution. I mentioned Kuznetsov earlier. He hit the wall coming off of 4 pretty hard. And that damaged the suspension and the right side of that car as Dalton Johnson hits the back of Arto Kekkonen. And that, we're going to see what that was for. Looking at a pit road entry camera we have here. Roderick Burging from the pits. Now it looks like people were checking up for Kurt Pliskin hitting the pit lane, and Dalton Johnson just didn't see him in time and piled right into the back. Now there's Ashby and Cameron Taylor. Neither of them saw each other. Ashby was coming into the pits. Taylor was leaving. Neither could see each other, and that was kind of inevitable. An unfortunate racing incident there. Scott Bates in the 88 car assumed the lead after the yellow came out. Now this is very interesting because Scott Bates has not pitted yet, and this is going to be lap 89. Stoidler has not pitted yet in the 13 car, and we're going to see as Scott Bates. We're going to see here Leonid Roderick, the fastest car in the field, is 1 lap down. And look on the lead lap. Some guys like Atkins, Lecklider, Ricketta, Griffith, cars that have not been running very quickly all race long. That strategy of theirs to stay out as long as possible paid off hugely so far. And by the way, we're only about 8 laps away from halfway. We're on lap 92. Scott Stoidler leads in the 13 car, but here comes Scott Bates. As you see Carlos Ricketta and Cameron Taylor playing tag. As you see there comes Scott Bates. The 88 car going for the lead of the race as Benoit Vukler's wide. As Bates moves into the lead. Not quite yet. There he goes. Clears Scott Stoidler. Scott Bates into the lead. Here comes Roderick. Here comes Ian Cooper. Look on the inside. The 777 car sliding all over the place. Scott Bates now. He's got to hold off. He's got to hold off Stoidler. Roderick trying to unlap himself. Look at the closing rate from that number 4 car. Just Roderick throws it in, and he's making it stick, and he's making it work. Roderick unlaps himself. Bumper tag almost between the 88 and the 13. Bates almost had it sideways coming off of turn 2 as Ian Cooper moves into the lead in the 777 Allison Becker car. As the 13 is wide again, Bates moves to the inside, and the EFR boys are 1-2. Pliskin moving back into the frame here, but Cooper slides it off of 4, it looks like. He's having to run a lane up. Scott Bates, though, in the 88, looks like he can run his car all the way down there. Cooper leads the lap, but Bates sticks it on the inside and is going to go by for the lead. Benoit Vukler in the 42s, who we're looking at. Cameron Taylor, they're 4 wide coming into 3. Taylor squeezing down on Vukler. They get together, they push up into the 92 of Kazuyama, and they get together, and they're in the wall. And that was kind of expected. And Brandon LaRoe, no! Brandon LaRoe piles into another one. Brandon LaRoe in the 39 car looked like he was using the wall to slow down. I don't know what other could have helped him. What else could have helped him? I don't know, maybe the brakes? Telemetry showing us that minimal brakes were used. I have no idea what excuse he's going to use for this one, but get the laugh track ready. Leonid Roderick has unlapped himself. This is probably the best thing that could have happened to him. He's back running in 9th. Before we get back to green, let's have a look at Dan Lecklider, who's running in 2nd place right now. You may also notice a bit further in the back of the field, and Anthony Griffith, the factory Tenaire car, is in 7th, and Ben Atkins in the Tutino is running 8th. Atkins is going for Tutino's first ever top 10 finish. They've never had one yet. Pliskin leads Lecklider to the green. Lecklider trying to go after the lead here. Lecklider has not won a race, despite being in the series on and off for about 7 years. Pliskin pulling away from the 47 car. That's the lap car of Joe Olenek in the 23. Tony Durbin in another lap car is going around Leckleiter. Leckleiter doesn't look like he can keep up right now as Pliskin begins to pull away in car number 16. Roderick now going in the inside of Atkins. This number 4 car is absolutely hooked up on the inside there. He's going around Griffith, who's boxed in by Cavella, who's racing other cars for position. Closing in on Adrian Devereaux now. Ian Cooper running in third. There is Chris Davenport rubbing fenders with him. And Lewis Kingston in the 17. They're still going at it. Davenport really not having anything there. This could end badly. They're 4 wide, coming off 4. Davenport runs the 777 in the wall. They squeeze each other down, and Kingston's around. Chris Davenport kind of triggered that one off, I think. Davenport and Cooper not giving each other any room at all. Davenport not on the lead lap. The 777 is. And gonna see right here as Kingston kind of pushes up there. There's not really any room for any of them. No room for any of them to go. And I think if one of those two guys would have backed out of it, that probably would not. That wreck wouldn't have happened. But we're talking about Chris Davenport and Ian Cooper, and those are two guys that don't like to back out. And I think both of them in particular are a little tired of getting kicked around all year. And here's John Quackenbush in car number 34, who had been running in 12th place, but he is slowing on the track. I hadn't mentioned him earlier, but Quackenbush had actually been having a pretty good run. He's had a decent enough season in the TM Lights so far. With Quackenbush in the 34 car, this is a Gravity Racing car, and Packer Carroll owns this team. They're going to be out of the race after running 12th. Didn't get the result they wanted, but they represented themselves very well. Scott Stoidler in car 13 is your race leader. Luciano Savarol, one of the last cars in lead lap. Adrian Devereaux trying to get himself back on the lead lap. As we see Stoidler trying to hold off Scott Bates. Carlos Riquetta peeking to the inside. Roderick is 4th. As you see right there, as Riquetta moves around Scott Bates. As not able to clear Bates, now he does. Riquetta throws it to the inside. He clears the 88, and he has a run at the 13, and now he's going to get Scott Stoidler. So Carlos Riquetta going for 2 in a row. As we've passed halfway, Riquetta slides up the track just a little bit. He keeps it on the bottom. And now Carlos Riquetta, the Colombian, leads. As we got 4 wide back here. Camera almost 4 wide. I think Jacob Card thought about it. Tom Moore, no. Tom Moore pushed up into Cameron Taylor. Gets into it with Kurt Pliskin. Kazuyama nowhere to go. And Kevin Dwyer got a piece of that as well. And that was a mess, but it looked like that was triggered off by Tom Moore getting a big push coming off of 4. Cameron Taylor's day is done. That's a big disappointment for him, but I'll be surprised if a big team doesn't pick up Cameron Taylor within the next couple of years, because he certainly has the talent. As we see here, yes, it looked like Pliskin's nose had Pliskin's nose maybe been about 3 inches further back, that wreck might not have happened, but I think also Tom Moore did push up into the 26 car and kind of shoved him up high there. It was just one of those unfortunate racing accidents. Scott Stoidler leads the field to the restart as Leonard Roderick runs 2nd. And Scott Bates sits 3rd. Leckleiter is still hanging tough back there in that 47 car. Leckleiter has not won a Master Cup Series race yet. Roderick having a run at Stoidler. No, boxed in. Scott Bates is going to have a run on the inside of Roderick. Here comes the 88. Power move on the inside. Scott Bates is going to take the lead, it looks like. Stoidler is going to get... Oh, no, Roderick is going to get around the 13 now. So the very popular Oklahoma driver, Scott Bates, inherits the lead of the race. Roderick from Highland Park, Illinois, moves up into 2nd. But now Roderick going to throw it in the inside to try to take the lead away as he's going to make it stick. Oh, he moves Scott Bates up into the gray a little bit. Roderick really wants the lead bad as he now assumes the lead of the race, and Stoidler's not going to go for 2nd. Scott Stoidler in car 13 makes a dive on Scott Bates to try to assume the 2nd position, and I don't think he's quite has it yet, as Roderick now focuses his attention on 2007 Drivers' Champion Tony Durbin, trying to put him back a lap down. And Chris Johans in car number 12. We look down now at Adrian Devereaux, running in 6th place in car number 7. He's in the middle of a hornet's nest right there. There's got Dan McKay in the purple car, way out of the groove. He's playing tag with Packer Carroll. I don't think that's where Devereaux really wants to be. The former 2-time Drivers' Champion, looking to score his 3rd this year. He's still very much in the hunt for it. There's Luciano Savarol directly in front of him. Those 2 former teammates. Devereaux now on the inside of Webster, now going around Carlos Urqueta, giving plenty of room as he goes after his former teammate. Chris Johans, the middle of 3 wide here. Scott Bates on his outside, Jacob Card on his inside. Card muscles his way through. Bates way out into the gray and almost into the wall. And Chris Johans now losing a bit more ground to Tony Durbin. His teammate Scott Stoidler in the 13. And I think Johans is actually racing all these cars for position, except for Scott Bates. Ben Atkins is still running in 10th. Greg Woodard is going to go by as he plays tag with Packer Carroll. Carroll almost into the wall. And Ben Atkins and Packer Carroll not exactly on the best terms. But he did just let Greg Woodard go by, and that's not what he wants to do. He's running 10th. He still has a top 10 in hand. He has to finish there or better. And that is going to be quite a task. Even though it's theoretically easier to defend than it is to attack, it's still going to be very hard for Atkins in this underfunded, underpowered, under everything Tutino. Greg Woodard now closing in on Ian Cooper in the 777 car. 777 car is pushing wide. Cooper's not been a fan of tight race cars before, and that's characteristic of it. He's way out into the gray now, almost into the wall, and he's going to have to give a position up to Gert Pliskin there, it looks like. Those 2 battling for position, and they're also racing this car, Carlos Urqueta, car 14. As Urqueta goes back around Ian Cooper, these are the cars that Ben Atkins is chasing. Battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. I'm pretty sure Pliskin's in 7th anyway. As Adrian Devereaux, in the meantime, has marched his way up to 3rd, going around Scott Stoidler without too much of a problem there. As looking now at the battle between Ben Atkins and Dan Leckleder, that is for position. Atkins trying to hang on to that position. Leckleder wants it for the independence points. Ben Atkins wants it for the glory, but Leckleder's going to win that argument as Atkins goes wide. The former Dash Cup champion really has his work cut out for him as the number 52 Tino now scored 11th as Dalton Johnson eats the wall as Packer Carroll throws it on his inside. That was a move that said either move or get wrecked. And I think Atkins chose move as Dan McKay in the 95 is actually kept all the marks on, not too much damage on this car. I don't see too many marks on it. He's running in the points, which for Maximus Racing, that's exactly what they need. They just need more points, which is more prize money, which keeps that team running, actually. They almost didn't even make it here because money has not been going well. No, there's not a whole lot of cash flow into that team. Devereaux is running in 2nd. Luciano Savarol in car number 5 has moved up into position 3. Stoidler is sitting in 4th. As we now look, the race leader, Leonid Roderick, is closing in on the number 52 Tino. Ben Atkins having fits with Packer Carroll, who is not racing Atkins for position. Packer Carroll is just sort of being a nuisance, really. He's taken a couple of swipes at Atkins already this race, and I would not imagine Packer Carroll is terribly happy with Ben Atkins. As Leonid Roderick sticks his nose in, Atkins not going to argue that one too much. He's going to let Roderick go, but that's not what he wants to see. He does not want to be lapped because there are some other cars that are closing in on him that could pass. Oh, we got a car slow on the apron, it looked like, and it's the 74. See what happened to Axel Andersson, who has been having, quietly, a very good year, as he suddenly had a problem that looked like a puncture, and Andersson knew it was happening and slowed that car down in a hurry. Must have been. Hit a big slide there, but Anderson, he's going to bring that car to the pits. He's going to still be in it, though, as Roderick continues to pull away from it. No, not really, actually, because I think no, that's not Adrian Devereaux in the background. I saw one of the Altor cars instead, but Roderick actually is, it looks like, pulling away from Adrian Devereaux. And yes, that is Packer Carroll in the background, I think. One of the two Altor cars is Roderick now chasing down Dan Lechliter and Dalton Johnson in that 97 car, who is apparently magnetically attracted to the outside lane unless there's other cars inside. As you see him nearly cutting to Greg Woodard in the Lycoya, Greg Woodard drives Lycoya, and that's the LycoyaBusters.org machine, as Axel Andersson has returned to the race, but he's all the way down in 31st. The Michelin Sons need some good luck. If they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all. Jacob Card, in the meantime, has moved past Ben Atkins and is up into 11th. Card having a good recovery in car number 6. Melanie Clavino has moved up into 4th and is beginning to hound Luciano Savarol, who's stuck behind a train of lap cars. Savarol really has been taking his time. I wonder if Savarol is actually trying to save his tires more than anything else, because he doesn't seem to be in that much of a hurry, and Savarol has been faster than Clavino on older tires. So I do wonder if Luciano just isn't being a little bit more patient. But really, Luciano has been better at navigating traffic than this. As you see the running order appear on the left side, as you see Clavino now beginning to stick her nose. Melanie's not close enough to get by Luciano Savarol. In the same vein, it looks like Savarol is just not going quickly enough to get by Davenport. But I get the impression that Savarol could get by the 84 anytime he wants, and now it looks like he wants to, and he's going to get Davenport out of his way and go right on by. And it looks like he might do so at the 79 of Archer Harris. Or no, looks like he might have tried to box Clavino in, and now he's going after the 79. So yes, it does look like Luciano's is holding Clavino back more than he is trying to press on and catch Devereaux. I think that might mean, I read that anyway, as Savarol doesn't think he has anything for the 7 and just going to try to botch Melanie Clavino's race as much as possible. Roderick now is closing in on Ian Cooper in the 777 car. And, now Ian Cooper I thought was going to come down the racetrack, but I think he was only trying to get into the second lane so he wouldn't wash out into the gray, which he eventually did anyway. Roderick in car number 4 just pulling away here. I think barring some kind of problem for Roderick, he's got this one well in the bag, as Davina Henson in the 11 is going to pit on lap 170. She's running an 8. That's Webster behind her. And Scott Bates in the 88 also entering the pit lane. Penton having a pretty good run here in the number 11 Lynx car. Right behind her, you see Leonid Roderick in car number 4. The race leader is in. Here's Matthias Taub in car number 21. He's leaving the pits. As you see Dan Lechliter leave his pit stall in the background, and Arto Kakinen in the 9. Taub in this 21 car drives for the Melrose Racing Team. This is the same team that won this race last year with Darren Cardell, who currently runs in the German Supercar Series. But this combination has honestly been one of the big letdowns of the year. The Wernstrom has not gotten faster. It looks like they've gotten slower. Despite Taub's seemingly endless optimism about this program, it really seems to be quite misguided, honestly. He's missed the Cariala Grand Prix. He's barely run. He has not run all that well. And I don't necessarily think it's him. I just think that this Wernstrom 256 has been a dog of a car, and it doesn't look like it's getting better. It looks like it's getting worse as the year goes on. And honestly, this is one of those tracks that I would have expected them to do quite well at. Adrian Devereaux is running in second place still in car number 7. He's trying to chase Roderick down, but he's not really able to take a huge bite into that gap. Roderick is kind of maintaining the advantage, but I do wonder if Roderick is more or less just preserving his advantage over Devereaux and just not pushing it any harder than he has to. We've seen Roderick do that plenty of times, and the stopwatch certainly suggests that. As he goes by, I saw a little while ago, Dalton Johnson in the 97 car. Here's Ben Atkins. His run for a top 10 looks like it isn't going quite as planned. He's running 12th right now. And his last time across the stripe, he was running a 16.8, and that's not exactly fast compared to some of the people around him. Some of the cars running around him are going a little bit quicker than him. Anthony Griffith in the 07 car also backing up quite a bit, but if he finishes where he's running right now, 14th, he'll do his Independence Trophy bid a lot of good. This is the only joint Independence Trophy effort. He shared this effort with an entry by Rus Autosport in Russia. Dan Lecklider's Independence Trophy bid is going to be looking pretty strong. He's been running in 10th now. Tenaire doing very, very well on their home turf. They've got 2 cars in the points with Lecklider. And Griffith, as he has contact with the 97 of Dalton Johnson. That's another Tenaire, but I don't think that's a factory car. The other major Tenaire player, Archer Harris, is also in the points, but we really haven't focused much on him because, honestly, after the first stint, when he went a lap down early, not much has really happened around this 79 car. This is an Oklahoma-based team, the Clayson Enterprises bunch, and Archer Harris just logging laps, and this team just having a very clean day. Notice, not that many marks on this car. And I think it shows with it's showing because Harris having a good run as Johnson into the wall again. Dalton Johnson. Oh, Henton moves up into him. Henton not giving Johnson any space to come back down. Oh, I think you can almost say that she was keeping him from sliding in front of the race leader. But Dalton Johnson looking well out of his depth today. Several laps down. Under 5 laps to go. Roderick is well in control of this one. Car number 4, that's the 5th place car of Scott Stoidler right in front of him as Taub is about to go another lap down. And Roderick going to move around. Looks like Stoidler's not going to give him too many headaches here. And, we got a slow car slowing on the track. It looks like it's the 74. It's Axel Andersson. And we've got cars in the wall. We've got just 2 laps to go, looks like. This is going to be the end of the race. This is going to be the end of the race. Here's what brought the yellow out here. Juho Kavela, and then car number 38, slowing, and looks like he just took off, the front end just took off on that car. Had no front end grip, and it just took off up the racetrack, and he went right into the back of Dalton Johnson. That's going to cause this race to end under caution. They don't have enough time to get this race back going. It's gonna run out the distance. Unfortunately, no green-white checkered, and that's a bit of a disappointment. But Leonid Roderick takes the commanding victory. Everyone outside the top 5 was off the lead lap. Davina Henton, Carlos Urqueta, Jacob Card, Ian Cooper, Dan Lecklider, and Scott Bates all one lap down. Kevin Dwyer down to Tony Durbin, all 2 laps down, and everyone from Archer Harris on back was 3 or more laps down. Some notable performances by the Tenaire drivers, Dan Lecklider, the factory car with Anthony Griffith at the wheel, and Archer Harris. All of them got championship points after some very strong runs. Zach Webster, another good run for him in only his 2nd career start. And Dan McKay rounds out the points contenders in the Maximus car. That team definitely needed that. And now let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship with 14 races in the books. Devereaux has reassumed the points lead, and Savarell has reassumed 2nd. Clavino down to 3rd. Roderick and Rossini, the 2 Volpes, still very much are in contention. Kekkonen, Bates, Ashby, Dwyer, and D'Souza are both still legitimate contenders. Davina Henton, a little bit shakier ground there because she hasn't really shown the consistency. Carlos Urqueta, I think, is where you start to find all the people that are probably out of contention, but there's still 2 double points races and plenty of races left to go in the season. Scott Stoidler, with his 3rd top 10 of the year, or top 5 of the year rather, has moved his way into the top 20 in points in 20th place. A quick look at the Independence Trophy shows that the Tenaire boys gain handsomely from their very strong performances here. Dan Lecklider, Archer Harris, and Anthony Griffith. The next time the TM Master Cup Series will be in action will be at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at Road America.